Welcome back to Reading Bear. Today, we will take a look at some new revenge stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
First one is titled, How I Got My Neighbors to Stop Slamming Doors. So I live in a university building that is meant for mature students and families. Lately one of the people on my floor has been inviting a person over who slams the door an average of 5 to 9 times daily. This isn't just simple falling of the weight of the door, he is forcefully slamming it. It isn't to smoke because he smokes inside the apartment. This is illegal in this building due to connected ventilation and health laws. Well, they decided to do the door slam 6 times during my exam and I stuck my head out the door to ask whoever it was to knock it off. I actually think this lowered my exam by 10% because of the multiple breaks in concentration and rapid-fire multiple-choice aspect of the test, 100 questions in 90 minutes. I am suspecting they are from a culture where women are second-class citizens as they laughed and continued to do it. I will also mention there is a baby in the next unit and the dad has yelled at this guy to stop as well. Well, after a weekend of 20 to 25 slams a day, I guess to save his manhood and ego after being chewed out, I thought of a solution. I took my vacuum and put it right at the head of my door. I then turned it on for half an hour straight and just let it run. I just needed some white noise to actually write some of my final paper, which is 15 to 25 pages, as I've gotten almost no work done all weekend due to the disturbances of them trying to prove something. Well, it worked. Close to the end of the half-hour mark, all hell broke loose in the hall and the dad ripped the guy a new one as he tried slamming the door over and over to fight the vacuum. Even his friend was pleading with him to please stop slamming the door, it was causing problems for him with his neighbors. One more slam as the guy left and it's been quiet ever since. I plan on turning the vacuum on for every half hour this guy slams the door. I've never done this type of thing, but I have to admit it feels so good, and I got over 500 words of my essay done. If you're asked respectfully to stop multiple times by multiple people, do it, your ego isn't worth it. Next one is titled, You Think I'm Ugly? Well, let me show you the mirror. I, 16 female, have a cousin, 16 female, whom I met just a couple of years ago. She and her mum are the biggest narcissists I've ever met. Her mother, when she was young, used to make fun of my mother, constantly berating her physical appearance. So before the meeting, my mum actually warned me about their behavior, bless her. Well, this girl, on the very first day, made a rude comment about my nose being too big, eyes too small, etc. Now, I know I'm above the average, but these kind of comments did make me insecure a little. She acted like she was the Lady Diana herself. Like, once she asked me to cover the mirrors in my house when she comes over because after seeing her, the mirror's standards would be too high and the next time it sees me, it'll shatter. The last straw was when she looked at my baby brother and said that he is the reason she doesn't want kids because what if her kids turned out just as ugly as him? Her mum kinda laughed awkwardly and told her that he looked exactly like me when I was young. This girl's went directly at my face. That's it, that was it. My uncle asked for our childhood photos so that we could see if she was any cuter than me. I was willing to show mine, but she was kinda hesitant. She said she didn't have any. She doesn't wanna show them. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do now. I spent the whole weekend searching for her and my pictures and put them all in photo album. When the next time we had a family gathering, I asked for everyone's attention and asked them to look at our old photos. Everyone was enthusiastic. I handed them the album and on the very first page, there was a picture of me, a cute little teddy bear, and her, a crooked-teethed monkey who looked like it had been marinating in car oil for 3 years straight. Initially she was like, EWW, that baby's ugly as duck. But when she realized that it was actually her, she was extremely embarrassed. Then she accused me of editing my pictures to look good and hers to look like that. Before I even had to say anything, my uncle went, Cousin, there's no way she could edit these printed pictures from the 2010s. I don't understand, you look exactly like that. They all started laughing and I finally got my revenge. She and I don't talk anymore and I hope it stays that way. Last on is entitled People, Strange Boss and a bit of malicious compliance thrown in. Oh, and I don't work here either. Strap in guys, this is going to be a bumpy ride that goes over 4 months. So, I was in a role where my boss decided to get a coworker to go buy an app that would integrate into something that was part of my job. We sat down at the end of her research and she presented the 3 apps that she was interested in choosing from. Now it was essential that the data collected in the app was easily migrated into my system. We could not change my system as that was a global product, so it had to be the app that was more flexible. Of the 3 that were shown, none of them would link to my system. The work in migrating the data was going to take up a day of my time each migration. And the app was going to be used 8 or 9 times a month. This would remove half of my working time each month. I flagged this and my boss said it wasn't an issue as my coworker would be the one to do the work on the data and then give it to me in the right format. You all know that was never going to happen. So, boss chooses an app. I'm under orders that it's not my project, so I am not to meddle, and that my coworker knew what she was doing. Side note, at this point in time, my boss had decided that we were not allowed to talk to each other during the work day. Yep, an office of 20 people and only our team was not allowed to talk to each other. If you had a question, you had to go to our boss on the next bank of desks and ask him the question, and he would then come and ask the question of the person you wanted to ask it off. Bear in mind, I sat next to the coworker. 20 minutes into setting up the app on the iPads that were going to go out to a show and be used by other staff members, there was a lot of huffing and puffing from my coworker. So evil me, put on my headphones and a podcast and gets on with my work. All I can see out of the corner of my eye is my coworker shrugging her shoulders and muttering to herself, but of course, I can't hear her over my true crime podcast and details of how to bury bodies. I realize that the movement has completely stopped and that she is turned towards me waving at me. I stop my podcast, take off my headphones and look at her. Coworker, CW, op, I need ask you to. And I cut her off. CW, boss B, has said you have to go to him to ask a question. I'm not allowed to talk to you. CW, but... Me, no, I don't want to get into trouble. At this point in time there was bullying and other things going on, so I was really wary. CW stomps off and boss tells her he is busy and to book a slot in his calendar to talk to him. As she returns, I'm back with headphones on, being all creative and in the zone. Now it's 4 p.m. on a Friday and I leave at 4:30, but she leaves at 5. She was supposed to have designed the app usage by 10 a.m. that morning but had left it until after lunch, and she has the even team coming down at 4:30 to learn how to use the app at the show the next day. It's not rocket science what she has to do. Set up an event on the app website. Write a series of questions to gather data on the visitors and check that these work properly on the iPad that the event people are going to use. Also, check that there are no updates needed on the iPads. Takes about 30 minutes to do. The data headings for the answers to go into are supposed to be formatted to match the data I need on the Monday to contact the people who took part in the event. But of course, she started at 3 p.m. and has no idea what she is up to. She plugs in the first iPad and it demands an update, then the next one, and of the 10 we had, only one didn't. So she can't start to test the app that she hasn't designed until they have all updated. Thing is, had she just tested the 3 she needed, then that would have been 10 minutes and the update another 10 minutes. No, she spends the next 30 minutes trying each one in turn and moaning about it. Me and my other coworker had developed blindness to anything other than our screens at this point because we do not want to be involved in it. My boss has also gone out for a smoke. So, at 4:30 and me and my other coworker nod at each other and stuff our laptops in our bags and leg it out of the office. We know that the poo is going to hit the fan. Now, my car didn't have hands-free and my boss had made a big issue of not having our work phones on whilst driving, so as I get in the car, I turn off my phone, plug in my podcast and drive home in bliss that the week is over. Now, a number of years earlier, I didn't have a work phone, so a select few of my co-workers had my number, including the person who was running the event. About 8 p.m. I get a call on my personal mobile from them. And they are virtually in tears. The app didn't work and they were told by my coworker that it was my fault because I wouldn't help her. My boss had come back from his smoke to find the event leader having a stand-up argument with my coworker over how important this was and how she had let them down. My boss said he'd fix it, spent 5 minutes sorting it and told the event leader it was fit for purpose, and off them went. They logged in at 7:30 p.m. when they got to the hotel and connected the iPads to the Wi-Fi, and the fix was totally wrong. Could I help? Now, I'm a belt and braces person and had managed to get myself a login for the app software knowing that something would go wrong. I said that I would, but that they had sent my boss an email saying that they had begged me to do it as I would get into trouble otherwise. Once the email came through, I spent 10 minutes and set the whole thing right. Setting the app up was the easy part. It was the exporting that was the bitch. I added bespoke backgrounds, linked data over different pages, and all in all, it looked fabulous. They ran an update in the hotel whilst I was on the phone, and I got an email from them at close of play on Sunday saying how well my version had worked. They kindly copied it into my boss, his boss, one of the directors, and their boss, another of the directors. I come in on Monday and the first words out of my mouth to my boss were, "Don't have a go at me for giving up my time on Friday night to fix something that could have been done right first time with planning," to which he replied, "You should have helped CW in the first place." I reminded him of the email he sent me saying that I was not to meddle in her project as it was hers and that if I did I would be disciplined. Yes, I knew at this point that I was going to have to leave. The reward for this? She got to keep the project and I now had to design the apps for each show and do the data migration. A bit of malicious compliance here. I took 2 days to migrate the data the first time as they had collected twice as much as we had scoped for and took that time write a set of routines that would automate it for me. Remember this point for later. Anyway, things got worse at work and I took the opportunity to take a payout, left and set up my own company. Now whilst I was negotiating the payout I was under orders that I could not discuss that I was planning on leaving until the paperwork was signed. This is Monday morning, I'm given my release figures and I'm also told to do no work on any projects and just to clear out the files etc. on my laptop and email and forward anything relevant to my boss. I have until close of play Thursday to decide if I want to leave and a meeting with HR on Friday morning to give my decision. Straight after that meet with boss and HR I email boss to tell him my deadlines for the week. I've prompted all of them by completing the work the week before, getting it all signed off and scheduling it to run automatically. I'm told to sign out of those systems and hand over the passwords to my boss. This is so I can't sabotage the company. I have no issues with this because if it goes wrong, it couldn't have been me. All but one thing and you guessed it. An app is needed on Friday afternoon for an event. I flag this to my boss, in writing and he replies that it's not a problem because he will do it with her on Friday. So, I sit at my desk with my nice new noise-cancelling headphones on, treated myself as I was definitely leaving, listening to my podcasts of true crimes thinking about how I will be burying the bodies. I'm left alone sorting out my online files for the next few days and clearing out my emails. I was told, in writing, to email everything to my boss, even though he had access to my files online, he wanted me to annotate what was what. Well, after 2 hours I was told to stop by his boss, the head of IT, as I had caused issues with the amount I was emailing internally. So, he had to take the files where they were. Now the evil part of me mixed revenge with compliance and I having been told in writing to only leave the things to do with my current projects. Yes, I did check that was what he wanted and got it in email, which I obviously forwarded to myself, and told to clear out old projects from all the software I used. I did exactly that. The 25 gigabits of data on the server was reduced to 20 megabits and my email library, which covered my 12 years in the company, was taken down to 8 project folders, which I had emailed before I was told to stop. I cleared all the files saved in software clouds, any partial project I had started to try things out, all routines that I had written just for me and not told anyone about. I deleted my contacts in my Outlook and reformatted my work phone on the Thursday evening. Defragged my laptop. Now before I removed everything, I spoke with my union solicitor about interpreting my boss' request to delete everything and they gave me in writing that I was covered. I went in on the Friday morning to my 9 a.m. meeting with my boss and HR with my paperwork signed. We have the meeting in my director's office who is out for the day. After HR say that I can now finish for the day, clear my desk and go. HR leave and my boss calls in my 2 co-workers, tells them that I've decided to leave. I say I'm off to clear my desk, which was basically empty as I'd already taken everything home that week. Hand my laptop, iPad and phone to IT, pick up my bag and say bye everyone and leave. Now what happened next was told to me by my other co-worker. 4 p.m. the events manager comes down to collect their iPads for their event. You know, that app that I flagged on the Monday and boss said it was okay as he'd do it. Guess what, he'd forgotten, and guess where he was when the event manager came down? Gone for a smoke. Co-worker tells the event manager that it's my fault that the app isn't ready because I've left. My other co-worker was trying not to laugh during this. Event manager M says that's okay, she'll call me and get me to sort it at home. She calls my work phone and slowly she realized that my phone is ringing at the other end of the office, which is confirmed when IT answer it and wave at her across the room. M, where is Op? It, she's left. M, why have you got her phone? It, cause she's left. M, when will she be back? It, she's left. M, oh, you mean she's left. Penny drops. M turned to CW, you didn't say she's left the company. CW apparently did a massive dramatic sigh. M, well, we need it done now as we have to leave in the next 30 minutes. You will have to do it. Can't you copy one of the apps Op made? CW, suppose so. Big shoulder shrug. I get a call on my personal phone at 8 p.m. that evening from M, she's again virtually in tears. First she tells me off for not coming and saying goodbye and that we must meet up for a drink when she gets back, and then she tells me that CW literally copied one of the apps I made before and changed nothing, so it has the wrong event name on it, wrong questions to do the quiz, and other things are wrong. She's been calling now ex-boss since she got to the hotel and he has turned his phone off. I tell her that I can't help. I had my access revoked, and even if it hadn't been, part of my leaving was that I could do no work for the company after my signing date and time. Hence I had to leave as soon as I signed. Well, other co-worker said that the poo hit the fan on Monday morning. The app was unusable. They had to create a paper form in the hotel on the Friday night, and CW was presented with a pile of handwritten forms to process on the Monday morning. She kept telling boss that it was my fault because I'd left. Turns out he had told her be familiar with the app months before because he knew I'd be going and she hadn't done it. But it gets better. She called me on my personal phone 2 days later. I'd forgotten to remove her number even though I knew she'd try to pull something. Me, hello? CW, hi Op, it's CW, how are you? Me, I'm okay but I'm a bit busy at the moment, was it something urgent? I did not want to engage with her, not after the time she asked me about something for a friend, and turned out the links I sent her to help her friend prepare for an interview were for her college homework, and she submitted a paper I'd written and put on my website, which shows that not all universities check for plagiarism. CW, oh, it's not important, but how do you migrate the data from the app to the software that you used? Me, I use the manual on the server. CW, could you log in and do it for me? Me, no I couldn't. I do work there anymore and you took my access away. Sorry, I've got to go, have fun. I put the phone down and blocked her on my phone and social media. Now it turned out that what she had done was type all of those pieces of paper into the app, then export it to an Excel worksheet that then had to be reformatted because the app didn't do it right. What she could have done was type it into a standard Excel worksheet and just uploaded it. She made it harder. It took her 2 days to slowly add them all in. I type at 80 WPM, she didn't, and then 3 days to export and import, and then it failed and she had to get our international head office involved, and it took them days to get round to it as non-urgent to them. The draw results were supposed to have been emailed out the day after the event. Well, I forgot about all this as it was the end of the events for the year. Until the Friday before the August bank holiday the next year, and my phone goes with a number I don't recognize. These days I let it go to voicemail and decide if I want to call back, but then I would answer. Me, hi? CW, hi Op, it's CW. Me, okay. Now I knew from ex-coworkers that there had been no events due to a downturn in the industry, and there was a big event coming up over the bank holiday. CW, I wanted to see how you were getting on. Me, I'm okay, but I'm at work so I can't really talk now. I was on my break at a new client's. CW, oh, this is important. Me thinking, yep, important to who? Me, okay, I have literally 5 minutes, then I've got to go into a meeting. I was interviewing people and had 5 minutes to get a drink and go to the loo. CW, well, we've got an event coming up and you know that app. I cut her off. Me, CW, look, before you ask, no I can't help you. I don't work with you anymore. It's been 10 months since I left. CW, but I need help. Me, seriously, I have to go. Client was frantically waving at me to restart. I'm not the person to help you. CW, but Op. Me, I don't work there anymore. I shut down call and blocked her again, and went on with my day. Later, ex-coworker messaged me saying that CW had been bugging her all week for my number, saying she lost it when she changed phones and wanted to catch up with me, so she had given in on Friday and let her have the number, then sat there whilst CW phoned me and she heard the convo, so was begging my forgiveness. I forgave her, and told her I'd blocked CW. Now for the aftermath. CW had been bragging about the app's success, you know, all the ones I'd written, but she took credit for as project manager, and what none of us knew was that boss had told her that if it worked out okay with the app she would get a promotion. It had all been going well when I had been doing it, and she had been taking the credit in meetings for the results. But once I left and she had to do the one the day I left and then couldn't get me to do the one over the bank holiday, she didn't get the promotion. She had also been working from home, everyone doing it now, saying she need to in order to support her son, and they realized that she just wasn't doing any work when at home. Deadlines were being missed. She should have been let go, but other co-worker left, and now they were 3 people down in the team, because co-worker number 3 had left just before me and they had a recruitment freeze. So, boss went from competent 3 works and 1 who didn't do much to just the 1 who didn't do much. She thought that she could leave too and get a new job, so started to add bits of her co-workers' responsibilities into her CV and on LinkedIn. Well, that's all well and good, but she didn't make it through the interviews because she had no idea of how the things she claimed to know worked. A great example of the Peter principle. Thanks for listening.